Hey guys, there is so much talk about Chicago Bears football, and the latest thing that is being bandied about is that Chicago is about to make a splash as sellers at the trade deadline. So here's what's up. Former starter Khalil Herbert, he's being linked all over the league regarding a trade deal getting done before the deadline on November 5th. And most notably, the one gaining the most steam is the deal getting done with the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm going to talk about how this is a player that we need at Hallis Hall. We need to keep him. And also, the rumored deal with the Cowboys, it just feels like charity, and we should say no thank you. So, and let's remember, last year the Chicago Bears got down to a fourth running back due to injuries. We are signing Darrington Evans off the waiver wire scrap heap. that actually happened for the second straight year. What's up? I'm Sean. This is Sports Talk Bears. Hey, we've created a really vibrant family here as we push towards 10,000 subscribers. Would love to have you aboard. If this is a good show for you, please hit the subscribe button. Would love to have you. So now, all this noise coming out of Dallas, where there's smoke, there's definitely fire, as it's actually fact that the Minnesota Vikings, they were in negotiations for Herbert last week until they instead opted for the cheaper Cam Akers and a deal with the Houston Texans. So now this deal with the Cowboys, it's even getting picked up by major outlets. ESPN, they just gave us a walkthrough from Bristol. So here's a proposed deal. The Bears would get a 6th-round pick from the Cowboys. The Cowboys get Herbert. And the Cowboys are in a situation that Zeke Elliott, he's been phased out. And Dowdle, he's not really filling the role well. A good metric, using the rush yards over expected metric, he's at minus 18. That's not great. So what Herbert would do, he'd come in without really a 20 carries per game profile. I mean, we all know this as Bears fans. He is effective. Among the 46 players with 300 carries or more over the last 3 years, his 4.9 yards per carry average ranks 7th in the league. So how does this make sense? I mean, Herbert has a ton of value to us. And in Herbert's case, keeping him for the rest of the season while knowing he's going to leave after the season, even if they get nothing in return for him, I think it's a far better option than just giving him to another team for something as entirely insignificant as a 6th-round pick. And why should we bail out Jerry Jones for not solidifying his running back position before the season started? And there's a little more speech on this on Fox 32 Chicago. You guys check out this story in its entirety or follow along. We even have Bill Barnwell from ESPN. He has this to say of who Herbert is as a player and his fit in Dallas as well. And by the way, I have never seen a good take by Barnwell. His takes are just terrible, just never good. But here's his take regarding a Dallas trade, and I'm just going to read it. Ranking 28th in success rate suggests Herbert was hitting big plays as opposed to racking up steadier gains. Us in Chicago, we know that he was a really reliable running back. But the Cowboys' longest run of the season has gone for 12 yards. Herbert had 24 runs of 13 or more yards during his first 3 seasons with the Bears. Some explosiveness wouldn't hurt, even if he would only become part of a rotation. I mean, does this make sense once again? For Dallas, absolutely it does. It bails Jerry Jones out. But for Chicago, Herbert, even though he's not being used very much right now, he absolutely fits the profile that DeAndre Swift falls into. I mean, we need this player. We need this home run hitter on our offense. And in the event of an injury, he can just plug in. We don't lose much at all. And that's a very good thing. And I'm really not into the argument that he's up for a contract after this year. The Bears aren't currently using him, and they should rush to get value out of him before he leaves in the offseason. And to further reinforce that, I want to look a little more closely on who Khalil has been for us. 26 years old, rushed for 611 yards last year in spot duty. He has a 4.8 yard career average. He's a forgotten man this year in Chicago. He's only ran for 16 yards all season. Another team that can use him is the Raiders. They're the other connection that so many are linking him to in a trade. But with the Raiders, he has a connection with offensive coordinator Luke Getsy. They can have him. He used to be the Bears OC, as you know. And as long as DeAndre Swift and Roshan Jackson stay healthy in Chicago, dealing Herbert is getting something for nothing. But I don't think the Raiders offer more than a 6th-round pick, and that's just absolutely ridiculous. And I'll get into the value of a 6th-round pick in a few minutes. But so in his career, Herbert has carried the ball 372 times for almost 1,800 yards, 9 touchdowns. And in 2024, he's carried it 8 times for 16 yards and a touchdown. And this is a team that's had so many running back injuries. We're relying on current, but injured fullback Blasingame at one point is a running back for one game. Deontay Foreman. And sure, DeAndre Swift is looking awesome. Roshan is handling the short yardage work, but what happens if there's an injury? We're a team that's 4-2. We are contenders. We need to look out for ourselves here. We need to keep this depth. And Herbert is shown to be so useful. He got the offense going this year. He scored the first offensive touchdown in the season. And we need to realize that having this insurance on the roster is way more valuable than just stockpiling an insignificant 6th-round pick. He has a solid role. He's battle tested. And in the event of an injury, once again, Herbert can come in without missing a beat. And on top of this, I don't know if it's even being put forward by ESPN. I'm not sure this actually has a lot of merit, because I think polls, he is going to demand more. And during this negotiation with the Vikings offered a 6th-rounder in their proposal for Herbert last week. Polls refuse. So they made the deal with Akers. And Polls, he puts a value on a player and he sticks with it. He said a 6th-rounder is not enough. And also, he was dealing him to a division rival, so perhaps that had something to do with it as well. Maybe that required a little more hardball from him. But let's say a deal does happen for Herbert with Dallas. I mean, it makes way more sense to package him in a deal that brings an offensive lineman to Chicago. And that's something that Dallas has in spades. Now, that'd be a positive for Chicago. And Dallas is to the point that they're kind of desperate. They need a running game on top of some other things, maybe some better coaching, maybe their defensive linemen to actually get healthy, but their running game has been terrible. Chicago needs a offensive lineman for depth at least. Let's make a deal here. So let's look at something too. Is a 6th-rounder really that valuable to leave us shorthanded as a result? And kind of looking into that, so far, the only player GM Ryan Poles has drafted in round 6 or 7 to even make an impact is Elijah Hicks. He did make an impact last week. Backup safety. He started 9 times in 3 years, but he's kind of a player that can be found anywhere in the draft and anywhere in free agency. And Poles drafted 8 players in round 6 or 7, 6 taking over. And the only really other one to really contribute anything was punter Trenton Gill. He ended up not being so good. He's now replaced by Torrey Taylor. Great pick in the 4th round. The only other player that really moves the needle is Doug Kramer. He was drafted in the 6th round, 3rd string. He's shown he can play fullback, right? He can be the move tight end in these short yardage situations, but it's not really worth enough to get rid of an effective running back that you might need during the season. I mean, he's barely above practice squad status as far as a regular lineman. I think we can all agree with that. And then you look at another Bears 6th-round pick that's been a value contributor somewhat since 2015, DeAndre Houston Carson. I mean, coverage man on kicks and punch, showed a little bit of pass rush punch, but man, that's somebody you can find on waivers. And to kind of close, let's look at the 6th and 7th rounds since 2015 to 2023, shall we? Let's kind of look at a murderer's row here. We've got guys like Travis Bell, Kendall Williamson. That was in 2023. In 2022, Zachary Thomas at guard, Treston Ebner at running back, center Doug Kramer, Jatir, is that even how to pronounce his name? Carter at guard, Trenton Gill at punter. I'm telling the positions because you don't know who most of these players are. Wide receiver Daz Newsome, Thomas Graham at quarterback, Kyrus Tonga at defensive tackle. Like, really, this is the caliber of player that we're looking at putting on our team in exchange for giving Dallas or Vegas or who else a quality running back for a 6th or 7th round pick. If Poles is smart, he will not give charity out to other teams in the league. He will, at the very least, if Khalil Herbert requires getting some value back before he leaves as a free agent, I think the wise thing is to package him up for an offensive lineman, give up a little bit of this draft capital. If you package a 4th rounder and Khalil Herbert to a team like Dallas, I think you definitely get an offensive lineman in return. And if you packaged him with one of the 2nd round picks that we have, thank you, Carolina, for giving us that extra 2nd round pick. We could package our own 2nd rounder and Khalil Herbert to a team like Dallas. Dallas is in cap hell still. Dallas can offload some salary, give us a quality offensive lineman, and that's a deal I can get behind. You guys let me know. I just want to kind of push back on this trade rumor. It seems absolutely ridiculous, but so many outlets are picking it up as something that would be really great for the Chicago Bears to do. I think it's an absolutely ridiculous mistake, and time will tell, and we will see what Ryan Poles does. You guys like and subscribe. It blesses me more than you could imagine. And let's enjoy this bye week. Let's get some players healthy and bear down. See ya.